damage was enormous. And I walked into my conference room. I pulled back the shades in the conference room, and I could physically see the towers pretty close up. They were 7 or 8 blocks away. And I could see then that the damage was a lot bigger than I anticipated. I went back into my desk. I called the mayor. I told him I was going to respond down to the scene. I was going to go and meet him at the Emergency Management Command Center, which was in 7 World Trade. When we came down West Broadway, me and my staff and a couple cars with us, we realized that the people jumping from Tower 1 were landing in 7 and on the overhead of Vesey, and we wouldn't be able to get in that building. So I called Giuliani's motorcade and told them that I would meet them at Barclay and West Broadway. And I was standing in the middle of the street on the corner waiting, and I guess 2 or 3 minutes before Giuliani arrived, there was this enormous explosion. I looked up at the building, and when you see that big red fireball blow out of Tower 2, we were standing directly under it. And I didn't see that aircraft. That aircraft came in from the southern end of the building and hit the south end of the building and blew the north end out. And it was, I guess, 30 seconds later when I heard our aviation pilots, the helicopter pilots, yelling that it was a second jet airliner that had just struck Tower 1 or Tower 2. That's when I realized that we were under attack.
How many officers at that time were there when you were there, and describe that scene for us?
Well, initially, the immediate surrounding areas responded, probably from lower Manhattan all the way up to mid Manhattan. You had some officers that witnessed the first plane hitting the building or could see it. For example, there was 2 police officers, one by the name of Fazio and one by the name of Maura Smith. Maura Smith was the only female killed on that day. They were in the 13th precinct and saw the smoke coming from the building. 13th precinct is up around 20th Street. They were in the 13th, saw the devastation to the tower, and responded probably even before the alarm went out and the mobilization went out for them to go. And so you had cops from all over Manhattan coming already. The fire departments naturally were all coming. This was an enormous, would have been, just even if one structure was hit, it would have been an enormous task for the fire department, because the first tower that was hit, they hit about floor 95 and above. And that in itself, a fireman getting up to the 90th floor, 95th floor with all that equipment on would have taken anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to get up there, walking. The elevator systems go down. So they were on their way up, and they were getting backups from around the city. When the second plane hit Tower 2, that's when everything changed. That's when, we realized we were under attack. I ordered the closing down of the city. Every bridge and access into the city or out of the city was completely closed down, with the exception of emergency vehicles. And the response was generalized from around the city. Because at that point we needed to secure the crime scene. We needed to respond to evacuate and rescue. it was an enormous response. The fire department, basically every firehouse closed down to respond.
Collapsing. These are shots from the ground.